Hey guys, wanted something a little bit different on the channel today. I'm going to be doing my Premier League predictions for the 23-24 season. I'm just going to jump straight into it. I'm going to jump into who's going to finish 20th place in the Premier League. And this isn't a surprising choice. I think you all know who I'm going to say. It's going to be Luton Town. Obviously, recently promoted from the Championship. I think they're going to go straight back down 100%. Maybe they'll finish 19th, maybe they'll finish 20th. I don't know. But yeah, I think they're going to just struggle to cope with the Premier League teams and just they've not really made any real like great Premier League signings. Like Ross Barkley isn't really good Premier League signing. Giles is a good player, but not really a good Premier League signing. Heath Chong had a good season at Birmingham, but will he do well for Luton in the Prem? Don't know. And I think what they're doing is they're creating a team that's going to do well in the Championship next season. Well, hopefully anyway, that's what they're hoping for. As long as they can keep hold of some players, maybe like a couple of players in their team will have a good season, like Adebayo, who knows if he will have a good season for them. You never know in the Premier League, one player can really stand out. Maybe Campbell will have a good Premier League season and get picked up by someone else. But yeah, Luton will go down in 20th. Let's move on. So he's going to finish in 19th place. And in 19th place, we're going to go with another promoted team. We're going to go with Sheffield United, simply because they haven't really made any signings. They lost Gia to Marseille for a lot of money. I just saw Sander Berge to Burnley as well, one of their best players. And I've not really seen them make any signings. I don't know who they've brought in. I think Howard Bellis has gone back to Man City. Was he even here? No, he was at Burnley. What am I about? Wrong team. But yeah, I just don't think they've made any like signings worthwhile. Like not worthwhile, but you know what I mean. Like not going to help them stay up. And yeah, I just think they're going to go straight back down in 19th place and have a bit of a disappointing season if you're a Sheffield United fan. And also joining them going down, we're just going to go through the bottom table teams real quickly. And this is one that I think at the bottom of the table, it could be a couple teams that go down depending on how the season goes to them. But I'm going to go with Everton. I mean, I think they'll be decent defensively as a team, which is why I'm putting them in 18th. Because, I mean, at the same time, putting them here, I don't know. I'm just going to go with it. 18th place is Everton. This could be something in a year's time I look back on and I think, why did I put them there? They've got Sean Dyche in charge. They're going to be decent defensively, but I just think at the same time, like, they've just about survived relegation the past 2 seasons, and I think that they haven't really improved over that time in the teams wise. They've got some good players like Onana, Dwight McNeil's all right, they're bringing Dan Juma, but like, I just think they're going to go down, to be honest. That's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to go down, and I think it's going to be a fight between like 19th to maybe 15th. It's going to be like last season where there's like a bunch of teams fighting to stay up in the Premier League, and it's going to come down to like the final 4 game weeks, and like so many players are going to just like do well. Certain teams are going to drop points to like teams that shouldn't really drop points to, and then it's just going to be a big melee at the end of the season for whoever stays up, and it's going to be like by the skin of their teeth as well. I think whoever finished 17th in the league, it'd be like 2 or 3 points between them and 18th. So let's move on to who I think is going to finish in 17th place in the Premier League. And I'm just going to do this as one long clip because why not? In 17th place in the Prem, I'm going to put Wolverhampton Wanderers because Gonçalo Guedes has just, I believe, got a contract extension of his loan at Benfica. They've lost Diego Costa, they've lost João Moutinho, they've lost the likes of Adama Traore and the Brighton likes of Matt Doherty, and the club at the moment is in a bit of a situation. If you know, like the team isn't really doing well, like behind the scenes wise. I lost Nathan Collins to Brentford. I forgot to move into Brentford. That's something I will do after this. But yeah, he's moved to Brentford, so now the defence is a little bit not as good. And yeah, I just think they've got some good players. Obviously, that's a Neto, Nunes, Gomes. They've got Pablo Sarabia, who's decent. They've got Mateus Cunha, Sasa Kalajic. And I think the key to their success is whether Sasa Kalajic is going to do well. Mateus Cunha will do well. Obviously, they spent all their money to bring him in on a permanent deal. They're going to need a big season for the likes of Neto and Nunes. They're going to have Max Kilman and Craig Dawson, whoever plays in defence. They're going to need to do without Nathaniel Collins. And yeah, I just think they're a team that are going to go down, maybe. I mean, I put them in 17th, but them and Everton, like I mentioned, they could be switched because I think their teams are just kind of similar, where they're going to rely on like a couple players to do well. But I think Wolves have a bit more quality to sell up instead of Everton. So that's why I put them in 17th. But let's move on to 16th place, which is the team that almost got relegated last season, but they ended up doing well. They've had a poor pre-season, not going to lie. They've had a very bad pre-season. I'm going to go with Nottingham Forest surviving relegation. Again, this could be a team that do go down. I could see Nottingham Forest getting relegated. They've just brought in Matt Turner from Arsenal to be the goalkeeper for the season. He'll be a decent option for them in goal. And if the likes of Brennan Johnson, Morgan Gibbs White, Anthony Elanga can start well, and Wandi can do well for them. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs White had a very good England was summer for England, I should say. Also did well in the under 20 something World Cup. Can't remember what age it is. But yeah, I just think they're a team that they're going to struggle this season again. I think obviously last season they hit good form towards the end, which is why they stayed up. But they need to hit that form early in the season. They need to start the season off well and and just keep it at a steady pace throughout the whole season to survive relegation. And I think they're capable of doing that with their team. They're very capable of doing that, which is why I put them in 16th. But again, they're a team that I could also see going down. So I won't be surprised if at the end of the season they're down in 17th, they're down in 18th, and a couple of teams that I put here and there are further down as well. Let's move on to who's going to finish in 15th place. And that is also going to be a newly promoted team. It's going to be Burnley, I'm putting in 15th place. And Burnley are a team that I think some people are actually expecting to go down again. And Wout Weghorst has just left. He's gone on loan to Hoffenheim. So I think their team, now thinking about that whole situation, I think they've got a team that's capable of going. They no longer have Harvard Bellis. So actually, you know what? Am I going to switch them around? You know what? I'm going to put, I don't know. Burnley being 15th kind of now seems a bit mad. I don't know. You know, I'm going to switch it around. Wolves, I'm going to put 15th place in the Premier League. I'm going to put Burnley down in 17th place. So 15th will be Wolves, in my opinion, now. And I've looked at this team. And I think Burnley will be finishing in 17th place, just surviving relegation, but also capable of finishing high up in the table if they do start the season off well and have a good, decent amount of season. I think if they bring in a couple more players to just solidify their team, make it more of a Premier League capable team, I think right now, they had a very good season in the Championship, but I don't think they have what it takes in the Premier League to do well. They just won't send a Berge, as I mentioned. But again, I just don't think they're a team that are capable of finishing higher than, I'd say, 15th in the Prem, and I think they could easily get relegated as well. Let's move on to who's going to finish in 14th place. Now, 14th place, I'm going to put a team that some people might expect to go down as well. It's Fulham. As I mentioned, this team could also go down, but I think their team is just, I think they've got too much quality to go down. Obviously, I'm not sure if Callum Hudson-Odoi has actually joined them. I'm not too sure about that. I just moved in there for a career mode, so he was there because at the time it was heavily linked. But I brought in Calvin Bassey, who didn't have the greatest of time at Ajax, but he was very good for Rangers. Willian is on the verge of leaving the team as well to Saudi Arabia, so that's one thing. And Raul Jimenez, is it a striker that he once was? No, but Vinicius, I could see him having a good season in the Premier League this season. He was all right last season, I believe, if I remember correctly. He actually did good for Fulham. And I think this team just again has a bit too much quality to stay up in the Premier League. Joel Palhinha, I think, is too good of a player to allow them to drop below 16th place in the Premier League. Same with Bernd Leno, Kenny Tete. And the defence is pretty good, to be honest. And that's why I think they're going to finish in 14th place. And let's move on to 13th, which is another team that I think people are kind of underestimating this season, which is Bournemouth. Now, again, this team could go down. Again, this team could finish in like 16th, 14th, 15th, whatever. Like I mentioned before, from here to 13th, like 13th to like 18th, I think is a melee. I think it's going to be very much like last season, where a bunch of teams are just fighting it out to stay up in the Premier League. But I think with Bournemouth's team, they just have too much quality again. They've got Justin Kluivert, Traore, Castrovilli joining them. They've got Favre. They've got Kirkes joining, the young talent. They've got Neto in goal. They've got a fairly solid defence. I just think they have enough to stay up in the Premier League. Again, they don't have a great team. I think Bournemouth next season, if they don't keep improving their team like they have done this season, could have a struggle, could be struggling next season and possibly go down next year or be involved in that relegation battle. But I think this season, they have enough quality to stay up. It's just whether or not the players that are brought in are going to hit the ground running and do well, like Kluivert. If Kirkes can start well, Castrovilli will be a good player in midfield for them. Favre down the right hand side will be great for them. But it's just whether they can gel together and find form to be a solid, what's the word I'm looking for? A solidified team throughout the whole season. I think they're just maybe one of those teams that are stubborn. That when a team play them, they're going to be stubborn and hard to beat. but also at the same time can also be beaten easily by the bigger teams, if you know what I mean. They're one of those teams that the smaller teams without the quality of like Man City, Arsenal, they're going to struggle against, but teams like Arsenal and Man City are not going to struggle against Bournemouth. But I think they're going to be a team that can do well, which is why I'm going to put them in 13 place. I kind of waffled a bit too much there. Didn't really get what I wanted to say out, but you know what I mean. I think they're just too strong to finish below some of the teams below them. And in 12th place, I'm going to put West Ham. And Ward Prowse is there because it's heavily linked to West Ham currently, and it's possibly going to happen. I'm not too sure. They're also linked with McTominay from Man United, and they have just brought in Harry Maguire for 13 million. I'm not sure how Man United managed to get 30 mil out of West Ham for him, but fair enough. Fair enough to them. They've managed to do it. And yeah, I think West Ham just have enough quality to do well in the Premier League this season. I don't think they're going to finish higher than maybe 11th. That's why I put them in 12th, just to be a bit safer this one. But again, they've got too much quality to do too bad in the Premier League. You know what I mean? I don't see them. They're a team that are going to be threatened by relegation. Maybe a couple of injuries here and there could do so. But again, they've got decent backups. The likes of Danny Ings, Pablo Fornals, Corey Ney can do decent for them. But the likes of obviously Paqueta, Jared Bowen, Antonio and Benrahma are great players. Areola in goal, if he stays there, will be great for them. Not sure what's going to happen with him. But yeah, let's move on to 11th place because West Ham, again, they're just going to be a team that are just solid. No team that can just easily survive in the Premier League. I don't see them struggling too much, but I don't see them having a season like they had last season without Declan Rice and with the players that brought in. James Ward-Prowse, if he's a good midfielder like it was with Southampton, can do well. But as we saw with Southampton, he isn't enough to like get you up to the Premier League table. Is a good player, don't get me wrong. James Ward-Prowse is a very good player. And with the likes of Paqueta, etc., he can do well. But I think West Ham are a team they're going to struggle here and there. They're going to have like a couple like weeks, etc., where they look like they're going to hit a bad run of form and they're going to pick up form here and there. But finishing in 11th place is a team that have done well in the Premier League over the years, and that is Brentford. And I just want to put them in 11th place because I think there's just stronger teams in the Premier League that are going to finish above them. But I think there's also a lot worse teams in the Premier League below them. Obviously, without Ivan Toney, they're going to struggle till January. But John Visa can do well at striker. They're going to allow Bruno to do well in the right-hand side. And Beko Damsgaard is going to have to do well for them. You've got Kevin Shard here, who's a good young talent, who can do well for them if he hits the ground running at the start of the season. And in terms of transfers, I'm not sure who they brought in. They've brought in Nathaniel Collins from Wolves. I forgot to bring him over. But with Nathaniel Collins in centre-back, I think they're going to do all right. They've got a good, solid defence. They've got a decent attack and a very good midfield. So I think they're going to be a decent team to watch. They're going to be a good team to challenge some of the bigger teams. They're definitely going to be a challenge for some teams like the likes of Chelsea, your Man United here and there. They're going to actually put up a challenge. But I don't think they're going to be a team that are going to finish above 10th place and fight for a European spot. I think they're going to finish 11th, just do their job and just finish there basically. But finishing in 10th place are a team that usually put in 12th place in a Premier League prediction, Crystal Palace. They have just lost, obviously, Wilfried Zaha moving to Fenerbahce, but they've got too many good players again. Edouard and Mateta, not the most reliable strikers in the world, but I think the likes of Elise, Eze, they've got too many good players, I think, again. And also, in my opinion, they've also brought in Jefferson Lerma, who's a decent player for them. Who could be a decent player for them, sorry. So I think he can do well. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Southampton underperform and finish in 12th. Could also be the thing, but I think the likes of Decore, Eze and Elise are going to carry them forward a bit now and again. Gahey and Anderson in defence are good players. So I think they've just got a bit too much of a solid core to underperform this season. That's why I'm going to put them in 10th. But in 9th place are a team that people are going to say did underperform. But the reason I'm going to put them in 9th is because of their European schedule. Brighton. I think Brighton are a team that this season, they're going to be fun to watch, definitely. Obviously, there's got Pedro coming in. Caicedo's currently heavily linked to Chelsea. So I think he's most likely going to leave, in my opinion. So yeah, he's going to go there. Then Igor coming in, a guy who played for Fiorentina in the cup final last season, or the Conference League. He played in the Conference League final for them. He's a very good defender. I think he's going to do well for them. But very similar to the likes of Crystal Palace, Brentford and West Ham. They have too much quality in their team. They've got Solly March, they've got Evan Ferguson, João Pedro, Caro Matoma, you've got Estupinian, Verbruggen in goal. Is a very good goalkeeper, very good at playing out the back. And if they make this signing, which there is Mohamed Kudus. If they bring in Mohamed Kudus, then this team is going to be something. If they bring in Mohamed Kudus, I could see them finishing in 8th or like 7th maybe, depending on how other teams have put them perform. But Mohamed Kudus, if he joins Brighton, they're going to be a team that can cause issues. Without Mohamed Kudus, they can also cause issues. But I think Adam Lallana isn't going to do the job at Cam this season. James Milner ain't going to do the job there. You know what I mean? I think they're going to be a team that, obviously, Levi Cole wasn't left for joined Chelsea and signed the contract there. They're a team that have good players if they manage to work out the schedule and not like overwork their players like Matoma, Evan Ferguson, João Pedro, like some of their bigger players, then they're going to be like decent in the Premier League. But with the European schedule, I see them finishing like doing well in the Europa League. I could see them easily reaching the quarterfinals of the Europa League with their team, and possibly go all the way, depending on who else is in that competition this season and how they perform. But Brighton are going to put them in 9th, and moving up to 8th place is a team that if they lose their talisman, they're going to really struggle, and that is Harry Kane. If Spurs lose Harry Kane, you can see how this team is set up. I think Richarlison, he ain't going to score more than 10 goals in the Premier League. If he scores 10 goals in the Premier League, he's had a good season. Heung-min Son, they're going to rely heavily on him, and I think they will play him at striker more often than not. I think they're going to put him at the front line and rely on him to score goals for them. But he's not Harry Kane. If Harry Kane leaves, which he should do, in my opinion, if I don't see Harry Kane in a Bayern Munich kit this season, then he is, I don't even know what to say. You know what I mean? He's just bottled his whole career. You know what I mean? Yeah, he can look back at it and be like, oh, I was loyal to Spurs, I did this for Spurs, etc. But at the same time, you could have won many trophies. You know, you could have earned more money. You could have done this. You could have cemented yourself as one of the best strikers in the world, not just in the Premier League. And with Solomon joining, he's a very good player. I think they should start him down the left-hand side. You know, I think defensively going to be a very good team. Vicario is going to be a good goalkeeper for them, better than Hugo Lloris. But would he be better than Prime Lloris? I don't think so. But yeah, Benton caught back from injury. Højbjerg, is currently linked heavily to Atletico Madrid. So if they lose him, then that could be a big miss for their midfield, because I don't think Oliver Skip will play at that level. I think they've got Ennobele back as well. I think he could be good for them this season if they keep him. Same with Celso. Basuma, will he pick up form again like he once did for Brighton? Will he look like that player once again? Who knows? But again, I think they're a team that, if they lose Harry Kane, are guaranteed 8th. If they have Harry Kane, maybe 6th. You know what I mean? Maybe 6th, maybe 5th in the Premier League, depending on other teams. But without Harry Kane's goals and consistency, and maybe an injury or two to like Kulusevski, Heung-min Son, James Maddison, you know, one of the bigger players, obviously Mickey van der Ven also joining as a very good defender, will do well for them. But that's why I'm going to put them in 8th, because I think they're a solid team, but I don't think they're going to have the goals that Kane gives them this season if Kane isn't there. And also last season they conceded way too many goals. I think they're going to be more solidified defensively, but they're going to lack the firepower up front this season. And moving on to 7th is a team that last season finished in 12th, I believe, Chelsea. And Nkunku has just picked up a form of injury, so he is out for this season, pretty much, well, a large majority of the season. Not sure if Eddie Sparhe's actually joined them, but obviously they got Fofana. I think they've actually loaned him out to Union Berlin, maybe, I'm not so sure. But Jackson's looked good in pre-season. You know, they've looked decent, but midfield, they're lacking depth. Conor Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez, Chukwuemeka. They're probably going to loan out Ugo Chukwuemeka, knowing Chelsea. They just don't have the depth this season to do more than, 7th in the Premier League, in my opinion. They're going to be a good team here and there. They're going to be like a Badia Shaw, Disasi in defence. They're going to be good. Reece James, obviously, they've got some great players. But again, I just think they're not. I think they're in a transitional period as a club. But I think with the owner, they don't really see it as a transitional period. They see it as in, let's spend all their money, let's bring in all their players, and just throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. Basically, that's what they're doing as a club right now, which I don't think they should be doing. They should easily be trusting the younger players like Maatsen, you know, bringing in some of the younger players like Broja, giving them game time, give Ugo Chukwu game time. Eddie Sparhi, if he joins, play him. You know, Fofana obviously picked up an injury, so he can't play. But I think Chelsea this season, they'll be a decent team. Don't get me wrong, they'll be a good challenge for some of the top Premier League teams. But I could also see them struggling like last season and pick up some losses to the likes of Crystal Palace, West Ham's, etc. Because defensively, they look pretty decent this season. Don't get me wrong. Enzo Fernandez, great player. Conor Gallagher, if he plays like Conor Gallagher when he was at Crystal Palace, will be great. Chukwuemeka, I don't know about him right now. He's only 19, 20. He's looked all right at times, but is he Premier League proven right now? No. I need a player who can bomb forward and play balls behind to Nicholas Jackson, Madueke and Sterling. Mason Mount would have been there, which is why I think letting Mason Mount go was stupid in my opinion. I will stand by that. Letting him go was stupid because they now have no depth in midfield, and an injury to Enzo Fernandez would be one of the worst things that could happen to them this season. But let's move on to sixth place in the Premier League, and they're going to put a team people are predicting to do much better than I think they will do. And sixth is very good, but Aston Villa, I'm going to put sixth because, again, they need their players to hit the ground running. They've looked good in pre-season. Watkins, very good striker. Ramsey, good young talent. Tielemans, he didn't do well for their start of season, but he's a good player. Moussa Diaby, fantastic player. But they need other players to do well. Obviously, they brought in Pau Torres as well. Adama Traore is linked to them. I'm not sure if he's actually joined them. I just moved in there because I'm doing a Aston Villa career mode on the channel right now, so that's why it's there. But I think they're a team that I'm a big fan of them. They got the striker from Middlesbrough joining them back from loan, so he could be good for them. He had a very good season for them last season. But I think Aston Villa going to be a team that just finishing sixth, and if they keep some of their better players next season, if Jacob Ramsey doesn't leave them, if Watkins doesn't leave, if he has a good season, and they can improve on maybe Carlos in defence, bringing a younger defender, bringing in younger left back, bringing a better left winger, more consistent left winger than Bailey, and I think they're a team that can do better next season. But I think sixth is their ceiling this season, maybe fifth. But I just think the teams above them are a bit more stronger and a bit more consistent than Aston Villa will be, which is why I'm putting them in sixth. And finishing in fifth place in the Premier League, I'm going to put Newcastle United. And Newcastle obviously just put in some fantastic players. Sandro Tonali joining, Harvey Barnes joining, some great signings. They've made their defence even stronger with Livramento joining. And who else did they brought in? I'm not too sure. Have they made any more signings other than that I can see here that I've done? I don't think so. But yeah, a team that I think, due to the Champions League that they're in this season, I think they're going to be a team that struggle here and there in the Premier League in some games, because if they have a big Champions League game, they're going to have to rest some of their bigger players. Obviously, St. Maximan now at Newcastle, sorry, it's Harvey Barnes and Anthony Gordon. And as we've seen with Anthony Gordon, he's a little bit unreliable at times in the Premier League. He's not really a first-team quality player for the likes of Newcastle, in my opinion. I think he can definitely get there. He's got the talent to get there, but he just needs the determination to get there in the game time. And I think Harvey Barnes is just going to be too good of a player to dispossess in this team for them unless he gets injured maybe, and then they're going to be at a bad point of the season. But I think Newcastle, fifth place, is what I'm putting them. If they can keep improving their team, then I think they could be a team that do challenge for the title in 3 or 4 years' time, in my opinion. If they're improving the likes of Almiron, Dan Burn at left back, Fabian Schär, and obviously Livramento comes in and does well and takes it from Kane Trippier down the line. This midfield is going to do well for them this season, in my opinion. That's going to be one of their best assets for them, which is why I'm putting them in the fifth. And I think in the Champions League, they're going to be a decent team. They're definitely going to make it to maybe the quarterfinals, in my opinion, if they don't have a really hard group stage. But at the same time, I could also see them getting a hard group stage and struggling to get out the group maybe, or maybe getting knocked out in the round of 16. But finishing in fourth place, or a team that last season underperformed massively, and going with Liverpool. Because Liverpool in pre-season have looked pretty good. Likes of Jota, Nunes, Salah, McAllister. If Lavia joins them, will be good for them. Obviously, their midfield doesn't have the depth they had as Oxlade-Chamberlain's left them. And I just think, again, they're too strong of a team. Trent in a forward role, more of a forward role this season, is going to do well for them down the right-hand side. Is obviously in a good mood as well. Is playing at the top of his game. Will do well for them. But if they can do well defensively, in my opinion, that's where they're going to struggle. Because Trent moving more further forward leaves them more susceptible to chances on the right-hand side. And if Lavia and Kanate can do well with that, or Bajcetic can do well with that, or Thiago, maybe, I don't know who's going to play in that role next season. It'll possibly be Bajcetic or Lavia if Lavia joins. I think this is how Liverpool should line up if they make all three signings. But I just think Liverpool, fourth place, if they improve their team in some areas next season and they keep some of their better players. I think the likes of Diaz are going to do well for them next season. This season, sorry. Cody Gakpo should do well for them. Curtis Jones ended last season at the top of his game. Looks like a good player for them this season. Thiago, obviously a good player, getting a little bit on in his age now. I think this will be his final season at Liverpool. And I think next season I could see him leaving and bringing in a different midfielder to replace him. But finishing in third, I'm going to go with Man United because I think Man United are a team that, honestly, I think they can do well. I don't think they're going to challenge for the title this season, but I think if they keep some good players, if they keep going, Højlund for 17 million, too much money on him in my opinion. He's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think bringing him in for 17 mil was a bit too much in my opinion. I think maybe like 40 mil was where they should have paid for him, but it's where it is. Would he hit the ground running in the Premier League? Who knows? He's a good player, but would he get you 10 plus goals in this season in his first season? Who knows? Obviously, Martial isn't the best goal scorer. Rashford, like striker, can do well with his best positions on the wing for me. Mason Mount is a very good signing for them. I actually think Mason Mount is going to be very good for them. Andre Onana is a very good goalkeeper, better at playing at the back than David De Gea. But as we know, is prone to a few mistakes here and there, but I think he will be very good for them in goal. And defence, they've just got a very good defence. You know, I'm very good midfield as well. And just they've got some good depth. I think, again, they're a team that need more depth to actually challenge for a title and keep some players like Garnacho should do well this season. And Amrabat, if he joins them, will be a very good player for them. But I think third place, I don't see them finishing second. I could see them finishing fourth, below Liverpool or Newcastle if they do incredible and finish in fourth place, you know what I mean? Have a mental season. But I think Man United are just a safe third place team in my opinion this season. And speaking of safe second place, I'm going to go with Arsenal. Because, well, as we know, they just don't have what it takes to win the title, seemingly. They should have won it last season. This is coming from a Man City fan, by the way. I support Man City. They should have won it last season. It was in their hands, but they just let it go. They just couldn't, keep up the form. They couldn't keep up the fight, and they just let it go in the end. But I think I've seen a lot of people doubting Kai Havertz in midfield or at striker. I think if you give Kai Havertz time at cam next to Martin Odegaard and Trossard up front, obviously no Gabriel Jesus for a while is that injured. But with Kai Havertz and Odegaard as a midfield pairing, I can see that being a very good midfield pairing. I know how good Kai Havertz is. I watched him at Leverkusen. In that cam role, he was incredible, which is why Chelsea brought him. Then they started playing him at striker, and it was like, what are you doing as a cam? Then they played him out on the wing, and it's such a like that. Instead of just playing him where he's best suited, if you play Kai Havertz where he's best suited, you're going to get the best out of Kai Havertz. It's simple. It's the same with any footballer. You play them where they want to play, you're going to get the best out of them because they're happy. They're determined. They've got the fight in them again. They know what they need to do in that position. They're going to be able to do well. And I think Kai Havertz, Declan Rice and Odegaard as a midfield trio, will be very good. Saka and Martinelli, great players. Trossard, a very good player as well. They might struggle for goals here and there at early parts of the season without Gabriel Jesus. But I could see Martinelli and Saka getting them. Obviously bringing in Llorente in is very good for them. Will be a very good fullback for them if they're playing down the left-hand side, which I think where they're going to play him. And they've got some good depth, obviously, Emile Smith-Rowe. I still don't know if this guy is a winger or a cam. I really don't know where he should play. He's a mix of both, but I don't think he's got... I just don't know where he should play, in my opinion. He's one of those players that just floats in between them and doesn't really look like he's going to stay in one of them. But obviously, with David Raya joining to be the backup goalkeeper, they've got more depth in that position than Matt Turner. I just think they're a team that, again, they don't have what it takes to win the Premier League this season. I think if they keep going at the level they're at and they keep improving their team, they're bringing in a less injury-prone striker than Gabriel Jesus, and I think they could easily challenge for the title in like a year or two. But I think right now, I think this is going to be more of a they're going to be fighting off like third and fourth than fighting for the title. That's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a battle for second place between Arsenal, Man United and Liverpool, and then Man City are just going to be Man City and win the title. So I'm just going to get to it. And finishing in first place, we're going to go with Manchester City because, well, it's Man City. This is not bias. This is not anything. Giovanni drawn in. We're keeping Kyle Walker. It's not going to Bayern Munich. From what I've heard right now, Kyle Walker is staying. João Cancelo looks like he's going to go on loan to Barcelona, depending on everything like that. But again, this team is just too good. We've got the likes of Akanji, Alvarez, Kovacic, Cole Palmer, Calvin Phillips, Rico Lewis, Port if he doesn't leave us as backups, Kyle Walker as well. Like, this team is just too much of a well-oiled machine right now with Pep Guardiola at the helm, and I think this season's going to be more of I don't know how to describe it. Like I mentioned, I think second, third, and fourth is going to be a battle between Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Newcastle, and Aston Villa. I think that area is going to be those teams fighting for those positions, but Chelsea and Spurs also in that conversation as well. It's going to be a battle between 8th to 4th for those positions, then 5th to 2nd for those positions, in my opinion. Then at the top of the table, Man City gonna just do what Man City do and win. They're just gonna win games back to back to back. Maybe drop points here and there. When we have Champions League games, we're gonna rest players like Haaland, but Alvarez coming in will do well. I just think we have so much depth, so much quality. Well, too much depth and too much quality to not win a title this season. Giovanni joining, a fantastic signing. We're replacing, obviously, Aymeric Laporte with Giovanni joining, because Aymeric Laporte looks like he's going to leave. And he's obviously been a great centre-back for Man City in the past, but lost his place over the last season or two to the likes of Akanji, to the likes of John Stones, Ruben Dias at times. But again, Man City are just too good. So my Premier League predictions are Luton in 20th, Sheffield 19th, Everton 18th, Wolves 17th, Forest in 16th, Burnley in 15th, Fulham in 14th, Bournemouth in 13th, West Ham finishing 12th, Brentford 11th, Crystal Palace mid-table in 10th place, Brighton in 9th place due to their European schedule, but I think they will do well in Europe anyway. Spurs in 8th, could be higher, could be... Well, I think 8th is the lowest they could finish, but with Kane, they could finish in 6th or 5th. Chelsea in 7th, Aston Villa 6th, Newcastle 5th, Liverpool in 4th, Man United 3rd, 2nd place Arsenal, and top of the table, Premier League champions for 2023-2024 will be Manchester City once again. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel and turn notifications so don't miss any videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Check out the other content. I do career mode and Minecraft series right now, 2K23 Universe mode, so check those out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Let me know down below what you think of my predictions, if you think I've lost my head and I've got zero ball knowledge, which isn't true, but you know what I mean. If you think that, let me know, or if you think I've got it, if I've done well, let me know your predictions down below, and where you think I've got it wrong, or where you think certain teams will do better or worse. I'd be interested to see. So again, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye.